What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here, and I'm back with a little bit of an update. I've done a podcast, as you can probably see by the title, with Dominic, Matteo. He goes on for about an hour and 40 minutes, so I'm going to be releasing snippets, and then we will be releasing the full podcast, so make sure you stay tuned. It was one of the best hour and 40s of my life, one of the icons of recent times at Leeds United, actually one of the icons in general. Dominic Matteo was a fantastic servant for Leeds United, 145 games, and he stayed through the good and the bad. So listen, stay tuned for that, but make sure you also go check Dom's foundation in the description below. This is what this was all about. It's massively important, and get some tickets to the guest event with him and the Australian wizard, the Australian legend, Mark Viduka. Guys, hope you enjoy, and I'll speak to you soon.
I think, obviously, Dom, we've gone from the pomp of Leeds, and I think it's only natural and only fair, really, to talk about what happened afterwards, and obviously the horrendous phase that we as fans and you as players went through. I just wanted to touch on just a little bit before we get into that, but the best players at Leeds at that time. I know you've mentioned Rio Ferdinand. Who sort of stood out when you were in that sort of golden phase?
I think Lee Bowyer to start with. Lee Bowyer was probably not one that surprised me because I knew he was a good player and I played against him myself when I was at Liverpool.
Yeah.
But he was definitely the one that stood out for me straight away. Every day in training, he was good. And obviously, they had so much talent in that squad. I was very close with Alan Smith. We were really close mates. Smithy obviously bounced on the scene. He obviously scored against Liverpool, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I think Smithy, for being a Leeds lad, obviously the lads who came through the ranks. Let's be honest. Even though he did what he did, he went to certain clubs. Harry Kewell was a hell of a player.
Dom, can I just ask you, because you've mentioned just two there, and you've mentioned Rio as well. Obviously, you were there through that period, and you saw all of it, all the aftermath of everything that you went on. Obviously, Kewell went to Liverpool, and a lot of people will talk about his move to Galatasaray, which obviously every Leeds fan isn't a fan of. But, the move to Liverpool also put a lot of people's nose out of joint as well. I mean, what was it like being part of that at the time? And did you agree with it? Did you ever had any words with the lads? Or
To be honest, I think Harry was obviously, listen, I do agree with him going to Galatasaray. It's his call, but not really. I think a lot of Leeds fans say the same thing. The talent was there. He was unbelievable. He could do everything. We've seen some of the performances from him were second to none. He was an outstanding player, especially at Leeds. He really was. But decision-wise, could he have made a better call? Probably, yeah. Being honest, he probably could have made a better call. I'm sure he could have got a decent move somewhere else. And obviously, he goes to Liverpool, wins the Champions League. And fair play to him. He's achieved something that I didn't achieve. So it's hard to put people down when they've done something like that. I just think I think sometimes you have to think about everyone's got a different opinion about stuff, but in my opinion, I wouldn't have done that, and it's all right me saying that now because I didn't. But that's the truth. I wouldn't have done that. But we can't get away from the talent he was and the player.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, he was incredible at times. I mean, he really, really was. When you do the one-on-ones in training, he was very, very good at doing that kind of stuff. I think he could turn a game, couldn't he? He could turn a game. If you think back to that 3-2 the year before when you just stayed up.
Yeah.
That him and Harty scored obviously, and then Viduka. It was just like he was a match winner, and he could win a game on his own. He could dive as well. We all know that. I think he got a penalty. Was it Derby, the one that he done that really big dive over Derby away?
Yeah, it's always like he's always like he got shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But the thing is, it's he obviously made the decision himself to go and do that. But obviously, he might have had his agent or whatever pushing him to go and do it. There might have been big money involved or whatever. But it's very difficult to comment on somebody else because at the end of the day, he did nothing to me. The thing is, could he made a better call? Like I said, maybe he thinks about that sometimes because him coming back to Leeds now would probably be tough for him. But
Oh yeah.
you know, and he was a great player for Leeds. So there's two sides to that. But yeah, you know, he's a good kid. I used to live not far from him when I was in Manchester, and you know, I always had a bit of a chit chat with him and stuff still. But it's life, innit? You have to move on, and the talent was there. From everyone knew about his talent. And then
Smith, do you know what it was as well, Dom? Smith was always Ferdinand. I think obviously Ferdinand was a London lad, and you'd almost expect that as well. Like with Ferdinand, it obviously upset me, but when Smith, Dom, that was that was a real hammer blow. We loved Alan Smith. He was a Leeds lad. It's like Calvin now, isn't it? Do you remember what that was like at the time in that period?
Well, like I said, me and Smithy were probably the closest out of that group. Most people used to stay at my house anyway. It was just the way it was. If someone needed a bed, just stay at mine. But Alan, me and Alan were very close. We're a good bond, and I suppose from Alan's point of view, I don't think he had that many options from what I remember. I suppose Fergie liked him. We know that. The way he played. That he did well against Man United. When he played against Man United himself, obviously Fergie'd seen something in him and wanted him. And again, being a local lad, then going to United, I know exactly how you all feel about that. I think Smithy would be the one person I'd like to get on, and I'd like to do like a night or event with him at some point. I've got a few things lined up myself, and he's one I'd love to interview.
Dom, I think we'd all like to hear. Yeah. Just like you've never heard from Smith, really, have you? After at all?
No, but like you say, one of us surely can get him to do so. I think it'd be really good for him to tell his story himself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like you say, with Harry and other people, it's not really for me to comment on their lives and their careers. But it'd be nice if people could set the records straight at times. They don't have to, but I think sometimes it can put things to bed, and the fans go, you know what, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's what happened, because I don't know all the ins and outs, even though I was really close with Alan. Because at the end of the day, it's his choice, it's his career. I ain't gonna knock him for that. That's up to him and up to his agent to do that deal.
Yeah.
I think you're right to say about Alan, because obviously I think he lived in Rothwell, didn't he, with his family? Yeah. So he, real local lad, and the way he played like a Leeds player. Let's be honest. He got fired in. Him and Bats were quite close as well. I think he learned a lot from David Batty, the way he played, like getting fired in